Hey everyone, this is Andy with the Coffee with a Geek show. I'm here in Buffalo, and it's pretty snowy and cold here, which is why I'm going with the grizzly look today. Um, with me today is I'm really excited to talk with Chris. And Chris Hesselbein.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to make sure the last names are always trip me up, but Chris was a 5-6 math teacher in a K through 8 school in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and presently you have gone out to the West Coast and you're a teacher on special assignment with the technology department at Hillsborough School District near Portland.
Yeah.
And I love this. You said your official title is innovation strategist,
Yeah.
but it feels more like educational technology change therapist, which I'm going to ask you about because I
Yeah.
love that title, and I may take that title, by the way, if you don't mind sharing that one. But on top of your teaching role, you do you write, you present, you consult on ed tech, professional development, leadership, and where I came across you was gamification in the classroom at your really awesome site, igniteeducation.com.
Thank you.
And then lastly, in your spare time, you do you coach climbing at a local rock gym. Rock gym, I haven't heard that term before. And you like to spend as much time outside as you can, which I like the way you put that in there because I think us ed tech folks, I think often we think of ourselves as just being sheltered in our rooms, and sometimes we are. But so it's nice that you have a balance in your life of both ed tech plus outside activity. So
Yeah, and I think it's really important to unplug whenever you can, just to, you're a human being, and sometimes technology can be overwhelming. It's a tool, and it can help us out, but also it can, if we're not careful, we can get bogged down by it as well. So
that's an important point. So, Chris, I came across you. A friend of mine recommended your leaderboard, which was on your website, Ignite Education, and it just blew the whole room away. I'll be honest with you. Where I was in a meeting of pretty tech savvy people are like, "Wow, this is really cool," and I brought it to. We have a technology integrators forum, and I shared it with them, and of course, giving you full complete credit. And and then, just looking at your website, you have a whole host of great stuff on your website and really relevant stuff, and you've done some really free stuff. Can you just tell us about maybe the genesis of that website? And I'm guessing that's probably going to lead to a lot of what you do as an innovative technology teacher.
yeah, I was teaching for a while, and then I found myself in a position at an educational technology consortium, and I got to kind of be a fly on the wall and watch districts go through a change process, make a lot of decisions about technology, one-to-one implementation, and so had a lot of thoughts going on, and so I needed somewhere to kind of process that out. I didn't really have a voice, in the room, and so what I needed was just kind of a place to put my thoughts together. So it was just kind of a way to get my thoughts into some kind of cohesive stream, and then turn around and try to give back from all the stuff that I've been learning from watching everybody. So it was just kind of my way to like step back, say here's my 2 cents, and then actually give back to the community that I was supporting. So it started out as that. I'm more of an introvert. I don't come off like one, but I need a lot of processing time, and so I think writing is a really good outlet for me. And I just think about that whenever I am working with students in a classroom, and sometimes you need more think time, more wait time, just time to process your thoughts. So that's what I've been doing. I go to a conference, I experience things, I just kind of sit on it for a week or two, and just kind of process it out, and then I write something and try to give it back. So I'm just excited for that technology can give even our quietest students a voice and a way to contribute where maybe they weren't doing that before. So that's kind of how the site came about. I just needed a place to get my ideas sorted out and give back.
You bring up a really interesting point that I hadn't considered fully, and that is the idea of an introvert. And I read a book called Quiet. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's about Introverts. And one of the things that it said was a lot of introverts actually make pretty good leaders because they've spent most of their time really kind of watching and really kind of paying attention to what's really going on. And so when they become leaders, they're fully aware of all the different ramifications and the way people interact and work. So that's an interesting thought, and I wonder if maybe a lot of us ed tech folks are in that boat. What are your thoughts?
I don't know. I definitely work with a lot of extroverts in the ed tech community. Especially, you go to Twitter, and I don't do as good of a job like tweeting out as much stuff as I can, but I do like to sit back and kind of watch, and then when I'm ready, I'll participate. But I think that there's a mixture. It's all kinds. My coworker who has the same job as me is a complete extrovert and just a wonderful person, and we work very well together because of that match where I sit back and kind of think about things, but he kind of charges into action, and so we get a lot done because of that dynamic.
Well, so maybe the thought is just how technology really can really almost individualize kind of learning styles, and so I'm just trying to wrap my brain around that because it's an interesting thought.
Yeah, it is pretty cool, but without technology, I think that we would lose some of the quieter voices in our classrooms, and I think that classrooms that utilize technology well, even a chat board on an LMS or just using some kind of a back channel, I think gives students a place where they can find a voice.
Again, you mentioned your title as Educational Technology Change Therapist. I think I know what you mean by that, but can you elaborate on it?
Yeah, I think education, especially ed tech, it's really about people. It's not about the tools, and I think that the more we focus on the tools, the more we lose sight of why we're doing this. It's really easy to get swept up in what's the latest gadget, and how can we use the coolest new thing that's out. It's shiny, it's distracting, but ed tech is really about changing the face of education. It's about how can we use the tools to actually change the way our students are learning and growing. So I feel that it's really about change. It's about people. It's how we work with the people to get them to try something new. So it's not about teaching them about the new tools. It's about getting them to maybe let go of the things that they are used to, and to just take a step into the unknown and try something new. And that's they need some hand-holding to get through that. I work with amazing teachers in the Hillsborough School District, and but they're so busy. They have so much on their plates. How do they find that space to try something new in a safe environment? So that's part of my job right now, is trying to create a safe environment, trying to create support systems so that they can step out of their comfort zone and try something new. And it's those little steps that you take together that will eventually change the face of education. So it's more like therapy than anything. Let's sit down. Let's talk. Why are you scared? What are you feeling about this? How's this going? And can we work through that together? What can I do to support you through this? So that's really what it is, more than like, hey, I'm going to teach you a class on Google Drive. That's not what ed tech is about. Ed tech is about relationships, just like all learning is.
Great point. Thank you. Peer into your crystal ball. Where do you see U.S. education, or where you are in 5, 10, 20 years? Do you see a structural or foundational change in education? Do you see, you've done a lot of work in gaming and gamification. Do you see that in U.S. education's future?
Yeah, that's quite a big question. I personally, I really do hope that we see some structural changes in education. I think that right now we have a very traditional system that is very set on schedules and bells. It's based on the industrial model, really, of education. We need to move to an information age model. So I'm hoping that through education technology, we're going to see a decentralization of learning. We're going to see students learning on their own time, wherever, whenever. That's what I would like to see. Although if we really think that technology is the key to decentralizing learning and getting rid of the lecture model, that should have happened with the printing press. If you think about it, because the lecture model is like, okay, there was one person who had the book, and so they decided to read it because not everyone could have the book, and well, now we could all have the book, so we don't really have to listen to somebody read the book to us. So it really should have happened then, and then it happened again, with video and other things. And so I'm hoping that we will move towards more decentralization as we get more technology into students' hands. But that's really up to us. The tool won't do it. We have to do it as educators. So like what I'm saying, I really hope that that we will get towards a more decentralized model where we don't have to rely so much on schedules, where students can learn at their own pace and in their own means, and specialize in the things that they really want to learn. So that's kind of where I hope to see it going, but will it get there? That's up to us as educators, I think, regardless of the tools and technology. When it comes to gaming, gamification, I think that there will be small pockets of that. I think it will start to gain traction. I fear that when people think about gaming, this is why I kind of started writing about gamification anyway. But I fear that people kind of get it wrong. They focus on the leaderboards and the badges and the video games and those type of things, which is really not what gamification is about. Those are game mechanics that can be added to your classroom to make your classroom a little bit more engaging. Like true gamification really starts with diversified learning in a playful environment with an impeccable feedback system. Those are the things that gamification is really about. So when you say, is there a place, in our landscape for gamification, game-based learning, I think there is, but it all hinges around that decentralization, the focus on student-centered learning. I feel that gamification is a lot like makerspaces, coding, play. It's all those project-based learning. It's all those student-centered devices that can really make an engaging learning environment. So I just loop gamification in with that because at its heart, that's really what it is, just diversified learning. It's just one style at getting at student-centered learning. So I hope that there is. I see with technology advancing, we have greater capabilities to collect data about our students and therefore give a lot quicker feedback and more accurate to our students as well. And that's why I created that leaderboard system that you were talking about before, where you I just thought, what would be an easy way for teachers to collect data on students in a gamified system, right? You have to keep track of all their points. I don't want to be filling out a spreadsheet. But I could fill out a Google form every time somebody earns a point, and then that would go to a spreadsheet, and then I came up with a calculator thing, and then you can just publish it right to a website. So that's kind of my leaderboard solution there. So I think that as technology increases, I think gamification can be more of a reality in the classroom, but only if we do it right. I think if we do it wrong, I think if we focus on the badges and the leaderboards and we don't focus on diversifying the learning environment, that people will start seeing gamification. This might already be happening as just kind of a hollow novelty, a cheap waste of time. And well, I think there's a lot of merit to be had in it, but only if you do it right. So I hope we don't waste this chance and the potential that this strategy of learning has to offer us.
Well, and what I love about your site, and again, I came to your site just based on the leaderboard, but after really digging into your site, you do mention a lot of just pure education-based principles that tap into gamification principles, and I've always felt, though they're not contrary, pieces, and a lot of gamification principles we've put into education already. But I think, again, what I liked is you really kind of reframed it and refocused it to say, how can you put these into practice? And so is that your really kind of intent with the website, is to make people think deeper, but also give them some tools to use?
Yeah. Really, I mean, that's at the heart of it. I started researching gamification, something I was interested in, and then it just turns out that I felt like everyone was missing the boat. Very few people really had it. They're like, here's 10 ways to gamify your classroom, like make a leaderboard, give badges, play video games. And I'm like, that's not really gamifying a classroom. In reading Jane McGonigal's work, Reality is Broken, she talks about a researcher, name is slipping my mind, but they talk about what really a game is. It's an objective rules feedback system, and it's voluntary participation. So you think about like golf, right? The objective is get the ball in the hole. The rules are, hey, keep it off the cart path. You got to hit the ball with the club. The feedback is how many strokes you get and how much your buddies make fun of you. And voluntary participation, well, hopefully you're not being forced to play golf. Sometimes it might feel like it. School, an interesting thing happens when you apply that same structure to school. That school is a game. It has an objective, but what is the objective? And it has rules, but what rules? Is it your rules, the teacher's rules, your parents' rules? The feedback system, you get grades, but you get sideways looks. There's playground feedback you get as well. There's so much feedback you get, and it's definitely not voluntary. You're not voluntarily participating. So school really has a lot of features of a game. It's just a really lousy game because it's confusing and it's not fun, and you never know if you're winning. So gamification, to me, is really trying to take what's engaging about a game and structuring an experience so that you know when you're winning and you know exactly what to do to play the game. It's taking that confidence, that fun factor, trying to put it back into an educational setting to let students know, here, this is your objective, these are the rules, this is exactly how you're doing. All right, go, be awesome, have fun, let's try it, let's play a game. So I think that's kind of really where I come from, that's where my gamification theory comes from.
You mentioned Jane McGonigal. Are there some other people that inspire you? I'm assuming Jane inspires you. She inspired me. I got to meet her at ISTE a few years ago. But can you tell us who inspires you, or maybe what inspires you as it relates to your career?
Yeah. When it comes to gamification, I mean, Gabe Zickerman was also a really good influence on my thinking. Really, my inspiration comes from a variety of sources, usually just big thought leaders. Gamification, like I said, is just a way of looking at how people grow, how people learn, the relationship between failure and trying again. That's really what gamification is. So our classrooms are really microcosms of society. My undergraduate major was sociology. So I tend to take a look at big ideas that work in the world and then just try to apply them to education in our classrooms. If they work out there, they can work in our classrooms, and we have a little bit more control even there. So I really look to bigger thought leaders. One of the ones that I mentioned sometimes, like Dan Pink. It's his 3 motivators, right? Those work with gamification as well. Like, how do you motivate people to get up and try again? Anything. I look to psychology. Right now, I am working on trying to get my thoughts together on how I'm going to try to get teachers to learn more and try new ed tech things. So I'm looking at psychological chains models, a trans-theoretical model, or ADKAR, and how do I apply that to teacher development and growth? I'm inspired by the big ideas that are out there and how those ideas can fit into our educational landscape. So yeah, I mean, it's really, really big stuff. But I'm really inspired by kids, and I'm just amazed by how brave they are and how passionate they are. And I just wish our teachers could be more like that sometimes. I think that even myself, like something happens as we grow up, and we just we get that fight knocked out of us, or we're just scared to fail. Often I work with teachers on like using an iPad, for let's say, and they're like, oh, the kids just know so much more about this tool than I do, and I say, no, they really don't know more about it. You started at the exact same point, but they're not afraid to hit all the buttons, and they'll figure it out eventually. So that's the only difference, is that we as adults are afraid we're going to break stuff. We have that fear, but students are going to push through that because they're just learning. They just want to learn, and they're not afraid to make mistakes. So and that's another reason why I'm really into gamification, because I think that gamification and games give us a really positive relationship with failure, and they create an environment in which if we fail, it's okay for us to try again. We actually want to try again when we're playing games, usually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those are good points. What projects do you have on your radar? Do you have anything fun and exciting coming up?
Well, one of the things I just put up on my website, well, not just, it was a couple, probably about 2 months ago or so, I did an update to the leaderboard, and there were a lot of people who were asking for, like they wanted teams, like to calculate team points as well. So I put another post up, it's the version 2.0, and you can actually assign teams to the students in your leaderboard, and that will calculate team scores as well as individual scores. So that was kind of a fun project that I was working on. Needed to learn a little bit more about spreadsheets for that one to happen, but it's been very useful in other areas of my career as well. So that was the big thing that I'd been working on for a bit, and just been writing more about teacher professional development. Went to the Learning Forward conference in Nashville a little while back, and had some interesting thoughts on that. There was a whole conference devoted to how do we do more teacher professional development, how do we get teachers to learn, and they're like, how do we structure the information in the classes, and I took a step back and said, well, are our teachers even ready to learn? Have we created the appropriate environment in which they can learn? You think about our students, that if they come to school and they're having trouble at home, they haven't had a breakfast, they're not going to be ready to learn. The conditions are not right. So what conditions are our teachers facing, and have we created an environment where it's okay for them to learn? I think that if we focus on the environment and we give them time and resources and community and most importantly trust, if we do that, then the learning will happen, regardless of how it gets structured. So I think that that's kind of one of my bigger focuses. So I took a look at like plant germination, right? When is a seed ready to go? Well, when it has water and light, and so I just kind of applied that to teacher PD. So that was my latest article that I was working on, and then, like I was saying, working with organizational change theory, trying to move professional development forward, doing a little bit of writing about that. When it comes to gamification, I started writing a book. I got like 3 chapters in, like rough draft on how to do it, and then I moved across the country, so I've been a little distracted lately. So hopefully I'll get back to it. It's a big project, but we'll see. We'll see. It's every time I write, just helps me, clarify my thoughts. So that's kind of what I'm up to. I just kind of whenever I see a need, I'll just kind of go and try something new. So that's what I've been up to.
Your last comment kind of brought me back to, I had interviewed Richard Byrne from Free Tech for Teachers, and he had said one of the kind of really, I guess, spark moments for him was creating a blog, and he recommends for all teachers that really want to get serious about ed tech is to start that blog to really maybe push your thinking and that sort of thing. Do you find that with your blog that it helps really maybe define your thinking, and would you offer that kind of same advice for teachers? Maybe that's a good place to start.
Yeah, absolutely. Blogging is great, and I'm just going to say for students as well as teachers, blogging is, it's reflection, really. And I find that often teachers don't take as much time as they should to reflect on how things are going. In our district, we do innovation grants. Teachers apply. We give them, some resources for their classroom, iPads, Chromebooks, whatever they feel they need to get the teaching done. And then we actually have them create a blog and reflect on the journey. So it's recorded for them so that other people can see it as well. But I think blogging, just like keeping any other kind of diary or journal, it's a great way to reflect on your practice and really, we have a lot of feelings, but if you take the time to put those into words and record it, I think it helps us kind of wade through that mess of wow, what am I feeling? How did this go? So starting a blog really helped me, and then I think that blogging, in addition to like journaling, blogging adds another layer because it is out online, everyone can get to it, and then you can link it to social media. You can see what other people are blogging about. So blogging is, just be reflection, but often I find that a blog is a great way to connect with the community as well and start having a discussion with other people. So I would highly encourage teachers to blog about whatever it is in their classroom, even if they don't think it's a fantastic new thing that they're doing. I still think that reflection is always a great thing for teachers, and it's a really nice way to connect them to like the ed tech community in general as well. So, absolutely.
Your work to me, as I look at it, and what I've seen through your blog, and just kind of seeing what you've been up to, is very innovative and creative. Do you feel that that's maybe something that's part of your internal compass? Or is innovation, creativity in general something that is part of a school culture, or where did it come from? Both?
Yeah, I'll just say this personally. I found that I had been working in a pretty traditional culture, and I think that my writing, my blogging, kind of stems from, well, kind of ready to speak out. I'm kind of ready to say, well, these are ideas that maybe hadn't been heard or that I haven't been able to try. So trying to just encourage that. So my blog it's more about me breaking out of a traditional culture than it is saying like, hey, I'm in a really great, innovative, new culture, and so this is just what happens because of that. I think that innovative cultures can happen, and I think that everyone can try something new. I think that it's easier when you get a critical mass of people who are not afraid to try something new together. You get 3 or 4 people together on your team, and sometimes people are lucky enough to have an awesome like grade level team where you're like, yeah, let's just try something new. And the same innovative person in a different environment could have 3 other people who are like, no, we don't really want to do some new things. So I think that if you get the right people together in the right place and just let them do great things, that innovative things will happen. And that's the hard part. You can't force innovation. It'll happen when you get the right people together in the right place, and they're inspired by just wanting to try something new, not being afraid to fail. So my writing just kind of comes from me saying like, hey, I have some ideas, and I just need to get them out and connect with other people, because I had a couple people I was surrounded by, and we really worked well together, and but I needed to connect those ideas with other people to gain that critical mass that then leads to more innovation.
Great. Well, thanks so much for your time. I do have some Speed Geek questions for you, so these are just quick, short answer, off the cuff things. This is my Decide Now app, so I'm just going to click the button. You get 3 of them.
All right.
And your first one is, this is always a good one. Oh, just click one more. Mac, PC, or Chromebook, or what other device is your favorite?
Right now, I'm all my personal stuff is happening on a Mac, and I like my iPhone, and I like the way it all syncs up together. That's fine. But really, all my productivity is happening between Google and Evernote. That's where I'm at. Yeah.
Oh, so big Evernote fan, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Next one is Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars or Star Trek? Oh man, which Star Trek? You know, like original TNG. I don't know. Um, I'm I'm really excited about the reboots, the Abrams reboots of Star Trek. I think he's been doing a fantastic job with that. Um, and it'll be interesting to see what happens with the new Star Wars as well. Right now, I guess, oh man, I guess I have to say Trek just because of the new reboots. That's where I'm at. But talk to me again in like
All
a couple
right.
months next year. We'll see.
I'm wondering if I should maybe add Doctor Who on there. I don't know. Yeah, that seems to be a pretty
And
popular
then which
geeky one.
Doctor, right? Is it
Yeah, right.
Matt
Yeah,
Smith? Matt Smith is my favorite right now.
exactly. So you're definitely in there. Okay, so the last one is, what's your favorite social network?
Favorite social network? All my friends at the climbing gym. um, I think
It's a social
social
network.
network. We want to be geeky. We want to talk about really the social network. I think is wherever your friends are, and so I think we try to say, hey, Twitter's the best. Everyone should be on Twitter. Or, like Google Plus is a great place to connect with teachers, but it's really about where your friends are and where your resources are. So, there are some teachers who love Pinterest, and that's where they are. And I was like, go. If that's where your resources and your connections are, then go to Pinterest, and you're going to learn a lot there. So, um, mine is Twitter. That's where I go. That's my go-to PLN. But for other people, it could be whatever. I don't pass judgment on it. I just want people to connect. The more we connect, the better it is. So I just yeah. But I'm at Twitter. That's where I ended up for my PLN.
Great. Well, Chris, thank you so much for your time. Um, you were, I'm a big fan of your work before this interview. I'm even bigger fan now. You're doing great stuff. You're a real inspiration, and thank you so much for your time, and keep up the great work.
Yeah, thanks. And if anyone has any questions, just feel free to email me. I always love talking about this stuff. So email me or hit me on Twitter at Chris Hesselbein, and can help you create a leaderboard solution or whatever you need. So thanks for having me.
Awesome.
All
All
right,
right. Thanks, Chris. Have a great day.
take care.